Full breaking news. This is WYFF News 4 at 6 in high definition.
Right now on WYFF News 4 at 6, 14 surgical patients diagnosed with an unusual infection. One patient died. Now GHS, the CDC, and DHEC are working to identify the source.
Also tonight, investigators say a fire broke out at Western North Carolina Hospital, why officials chose to move the patients even after the fire was out. And
the man accused of shooting and paralyzing a USC student from Greenville is going to prison. Hear his unforgiving comments that brought Martha Childress to tears in court today. But first, it's Friday, and according to the calendar, the last day of spring.
And just like the rest of the week, the last day is a hot one, and with the heat comes storms. News 4 meteorologist Pamela Wright joins us now with more. Pamela.
Yes, well, we will start with the storms, Nigel. Not very many turning severe today, or not as many as yesterday, but live Super Doppler 4 HD showing things getting active once again, especially across western North Carolina. But you can see the way they're all moving towards the south and east. We very likely will get our share through the upstate as well. Now, all around downtown Asheville, pretty good storms along I-40 and stretching over towards Waynesville and back down to the south, moving towards you in Brevard. These will likely hold together, coming over you in Hendersonville and Black Mountain, getting a pretty good downpour. Through our U-Local site on the website, people have been sending us in some really great pictures. Here is some hail from Flat Rock. Over the last couple of days, there has been a lot of hail in these thunderstorms. Very tall cloud bases, and definitely that hail getting going there, so the severe storms being declared. And then right here, somebody's nice little shed in the backyard blew into their front yard with some gusty winds within some storms this week. So we certainly continue to see that. Right now, this is moving over Cowpens and Packlet and trying to get over towards you in Gaffney. Very likely will hold together. So either get out the door now or give it about 30 minutes. And then we go up into Tennessee because that's where all of this is coming from. And as the evening goes on and through the dinner hours, we're going to keep that storm chance right in the forecast. Through our Asheville area chamber, definitely some ominous clouds the way our cameras are lined up, and you see sort of the ragged cloud bases there, making it look even that much more threatening. But again, we don't have severe weather there right now, but some pretty good thunderstorms staying together. 93, 92, 94, that definitely tells you where we have not had the storms, and that is most of the upstate and northeast Georgia. But tonight, that could change. So I'll tell you the timing of all of that coming up in just a little bit.
Pamela, thanks. Take a look at this. It's not just a cluster of clouds, but a storm cell over the southern Appalachian Mountains. The pictures were snapped from a high-altitude NASA aircraft. The photos are part of a 6-week program observing rain and snow worldwide. If you have pictures on the ground, in the air, or from outer space, we'd love to see. Go to WYFF4.com, upload your video or pictures to U-Local, and show us especially the out of
in space ones.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We are learning more about a rare infection at Greenville Memorial Hospital that contributed to a person's death.
And several others are being treated for the same infection. News 4's Liz Loheis joins us live from the newsroom. And Liz, these are patients who had surgery?
Yes, Nigel, the infection has been found in 14 surgical patients. The first patient tested positive in March. Most of the patients, including the person who died, had heart surgery. Doctors tell us the infections are caused by an atypical mycobacterium, which is found in the natural environment in water, soil, and dust. The source is believed to be a piece of equipment involved in surgery, but doctors say it will be a while before they know for sure.
Taken steps that we believe have managed the situation to the point where I think we can assure people that we are as on top of this as can be done at this point.
The infection is not contagious. Dr. Kelly tells us it's important to understand these patients were very sick before undergoing surgery. He says even though one person died, the primary cause of death was the underlying disease, and the infection was one contributing factor. As we mentioned, most of the infected had heart surgery, but one had neurosurgery and one had abdominal surgery. GHS says if you've had surgery recently at Greenville Memorial and are concerned, you should talk to your doctor. Liz Loheitz, WYFF News 4, live in the Greenville newsroom.
Liz, thank you. Joining us right now, WYFF News 4's Mandy Gaither. She's live this evening in Haywood County, North Carolina. And Mandy, a fire at a hospital there forced patients to be relocated, right?
Well, that's right, Carol. And smoke was first detected on the first floor of the hospital around 6:30 Thursday evening. Firefighters, they were able to put the fire out quickly and with no injuries. It's called a mobile emergency department. Everything Medwest Haywood needs to provide emergency care right in its parking lot.
We can provide on the ground at the site the kind of care that somebody might need if they were really in distress.
Scott White of Carolina's Med One out of Charlotte says hospital management asked for help after a small fire broke out Thursday evening in the power room at the hospital. The hospital is now using external generators since the blaze knocked out power, including air conditioning. Because of that, 62 patients had to be relocated to other facilities. While the emergency department remains open to walk-in patients, the rest of the hospital looks like a ghost town. Susan Young learned that when she tried to pick up her medical records.
I couldn't get my records, and it was a 45-minute drive here, and I had no idea that anything had happened.
While ER patients are being treated here, those who require admission will be relocated to other facilities. All ambulance traffic is being diverted as well. And the fire is still under investigation tonight, and we've been told that staff is hoping to have this place fully back up and running by next week. Mandy Gaither, WYFF News 4 live in Haywood County, North Carolina.
Mandy, thank you. Lawyers for the person of interest in the case of a missing mother were in court today asking for a trial. The missing mother is Nicole Goodlett. Goodlett's parents reported her missing to Spartanburg County deputies back in March. Gerald Howard is the person of interest in the case. He's also charged with resisting arrest. That's why Howard's lawyers filed a motion for a speedy trial today. They asked the judge for Howard's case to be heard in September. JLMAN graduate Martha Childress traveled to Columbia today. She learned the sentence of the man accused of shooting her at 5 Points in Columbia last fall. News 4's Stephanie Trotter was in the courtroom and joins us now with more. Steph.
Today's sentencing was for Michael Juan Smith. This was for the federal charges in the case. That's limited to the gun, a stolen .40 caliber Glock. Yet presentations from attorneys on both sides brought shock and tears. Shooting suspect Michael Smith admitted he was a two-time convicted felon in possession of a gun the night Martha Childress was shot. His attorney hoped the guilty plea, while claiming self-defense, would lessen the sentence. But the prosecution presented silent yet surprisingly clear color surveillance video of 5 Points.
Mr. Smith armed himself with a firearm, a stolen firearm, before he even went to 5 Points, just in case he had a, quote, beef with some other individual.
Unlike this video, the surveillance video showed crowded sidewalks at night, with Smith walking around with 4 friends. At one point, with his group in the background, you see an unsuspecting Childress, who's waiting on a cab, drop to the ground.
Miss Childress, unfortunately, was victimized that night, and she, as Mr. McCullough and Mr. Carpenter said, is an aspiring young lady.
The USC student, who's now home in Greenville County, appeared calm during today's hearing, crying only when she learned of jailhouse phone calls where Smith was recorded as saying he didn't know, quote, what the big deal is. I didn't try to shoot that. And then he referenced Martha Childress. He also said the case has generated publicity because Childress is white. Citing an extreme lack of remorse and prior convictions, the judge handed Smith 10 years. Afterward, Martha's uncle provided an update.
She plans to go back to school in the fall here at USC. We're very proud of her, and we love her.
As she returns to school, the state case with its attempted murder charges will move forward. One of the attorneys involved in prosecuting that told me today they want to go to trial. If convicted there, Smith could face another 30 years.